Hey everyone, this is Stephanie at High Terror Stitching. I'm back with part 3 of the quilt that had 2 different blocks in it that could be hand stitched and were really fun to do. And this is an update because when I was talking, I kept thinking, in the back of my mind, I was thinking it's 7 yards. I said, that's really a big quilt. I said, I don't have anybody getting married, anybody having some special anniversary. And I really like the 2 different blocks, so I just changed the plan, and that's what this is about today. The first thing I'm going to show you is what I did with the first part of the blocks. But first I want to go to my plan that I had for my quilting, and I was quilting this on the machine. And the quilt that I have ended up being 68 by 53. It's really a nice size, and it only used the first set of blocks, block 1. And so you can see in the center I did the orange peel, and online I had seen this really neat way of adding pieces to it, and there were like 4 different ways you could do it, so I sort of varied those from each block. And then in one block I did all 4 flowers in those rectangular pieces. But then in the other blocks, I did some patterns just because I liked to change off and do those. But the nice thing that I did do that I had never done before was to do pebbles, a whole lot of pebbles in the quilt. And so here's the quilt. Okay, if you remember the first block, it took 20 blocks for the quilt. And they had the rectangular pieces, they had the centerpiece, and then the triangles, the white background around it. And you use basically in each one, you use 2 different colors. And so I just went out and did that. Well, when I got ready to put it together to make a different quilt, I decided that I'd do sashing because I found a big piece of a really pretty yellow. On here it seems to look gold, but it's actually a green, a yellow green, and it's really pretty. And then I used the little blocks, setting blocks in between to repeat some of the colors. And the fun part too was when I got ready to do the sashing on here, I have done this pattern in small amounts, the one that you see right here. But boy, I tell you, by the time I got done doing all this sashing with that, it was really fun, and I enjoyed it, and I use it again. And then I was talking about the pebbles, though. So around each one of the blocks, I just did pebbles. Now I've got to be honest with you, it took a lot more thread. And this quilt, I just got carried away. Let's turn and look at the back for a second, see if you can see in this light some of the work that showed up. So that is what happened to one part of the blocks for the quilt. And then here's what happened to the second set. And this was also a 12.5-inch block. And if you'll remember, there's the little star in the middle. And I used some pastels. I used greens and some pinks and repeated those in each one. So, because that was going to bring uniformity to the other quilt. Well, I said, okay, what am I going to do with that? So when I was into the sashing, so I said, do I have enough to put another sashing on there? And I did. As I picked that and I used those blocks, I have one more pink sashing that I can add around the edge, and then I'm done with that material. And I'm to the point where I'm going to start putting this together as a sandwich and then decide how I want to quilt it. But before then, I was thinking this looks like a female kind of quilt, something really pretty. And those boxes that are in the center of the star, I just got some new embroidery thread, and I think I'm going to experiment with putting either flowers, a few flowers in the center, or maybe hearts in the center and flowers. But I'm looking forward to doing that. But this is Stephanie at High Tower Stitching, and I just wanted to give you an update on what happened to that 7+ yard quilt that I decided wasn't going to be 7 yards. If you enjoyed this, please hit subscribe and like. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those. If I forgot anything, I'll write it in the description. Thank you.